This is the GTN show from a sunny Malta.
Yeah, and it's been a pretty fun and successful trip, I think it's fair to say, Mark. Show us what you've won. Yeah.
First in my age group, second in your age group, and I'm off to Maui for the World Champs.
But sadly, we can't stay here much longer. We have actually got a flight to catch.
We have.
We better dash.
Right. Woo! What a trip.
Oh, it's good to be home though, isn't it? And we've brought some bright colours back with us.
We have. Check them out.
And well, good news, we survived our Xterra experience and some of us might be doing some more, hey Mark?
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But coming up on the show this week, we're going to be talking aerodynamics in running, the Halo Man, and Lionel Sanders cycling outside.
Whatever next. Well, we've also going to be looking at some 3D printed shoes and lots more. Right, Mark, I know you're a bit modest, but you do have a first place trophy in front of you. Your first age group ever Xterra trial,
well, we actually both brought home some silverware. I got first, you got second.
Mine's smaller, yeah. But how, you know, first time racing as an age group, but I know you were a little bit shocked at your age when it came to the sign-in.
I went to sign in, well, I'm 29 at the moment, and I'm going to be 30 very soon, and I'm in the 30 to 34 category. It sort of worked in my favour because I wouldn't have actually won my age group if I was one below, so 30 to 34 winner.
And how was the race?
It was tough. I really struggled with holding back, so I still raced it as if I was a fit pro triathlete. I think I caught the pros who started a minute ahead of us by the first swim, well, some of the pros, which is a big mistake. Then I was in the red for pretty much the whole race and didn't recover. Yeah, horrific. It's given me the motivation to train hard, and if I do the World Champs, which this qualifies me for, I'll definitely train a lot harder for it. Yeah. How was your race?
Well, I think I'm the opposite to you. Like, I'm having done more Ironman type races. I set off and I was like, oh, I just need to go really slowly because I'm not going to survive. And my biggest concern was just finishing. And obviously, I can swim and I can run. I can't really mountain bike, which is the biggest section, which was the issue. So I was genuinely shocked. I had no idea what I'd come. I literally was like, yes, I finished. And then the prize giving was happening, and they read my name out, and I was like,
well,
what?
You did a fantastic job. Well, we weren't the only people racing this week and having a tough time out there. There was the Boston Marathon, and they had some pretty horrific weather. Yeah,
apparently the temperature was in Fahrenheit, so late 30s to mid 40s, which I looked up for those who use centigrade. That's below 5 degrees centigrade.
Yeah, and so with the wind chill factor, they're saying it's actually less. They're talking almost like 0 or -1 degrees Celsius.
But as a result, it looked like it suited the Native Americans, and for the first time, I think in something ridiculous like 35 years, the winner of the women's race was American.
Yeah, but it was Des Linden in a time of 2 hours 39 minutes and 54 seconds, which is actually 10 minutes or around 10 minutes slower than last year, where she placed 4th, which just shows to show how tough the conditions were.
It really didn't. I mean, someone whose hands it played directly into was Sarah Sellers, and a lot of people are saying, who's Sarah Sellers? Well, I don't think they're going to be for that much longer. She finished second, another American woman, and you know, going into that race, she was literally, in her own words, saying, you know, she was in awe of all the athletes she was running alongside, and I think a lot of the favourites just fell to the wayside due to the weather.
Yeah, and I understand she actually paid for her entry. It wasn't like she was in as an elite.
Wearing mixed matched kit, like no sponsored kit, nothing, and she works full time as a nurse, trains at 4 in the morning and 7 in the evening. Sounds like quite a lot of triathletes, to be honest, but yeah, really impressive.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, over in the men's race, they went flying through 10K in a time of 30 minutes and 15 seconds, with the likes of Galen Rupp, who later pulled out in the race due to the conditions. But that also played into the hands of Yuki Kawachi, who was the first Japanese man to win since 1987 in a time of 2 hours, 15 minutes and 54 seconds.
Well, one of the reasons that we were keeping an eye out for the Boston Marathon was to look for Tim Don, the Ironman world record holder, who got knocked off his bike in Hawaii just a few days before racing Kona, which happened to be 6 months and 5 days ago. Now, it was a pretty horrendous accident, and if you've been following the show, you've seen we've shown pictures when he had a halo stuck to his head to hold his spine in place so he couldn't move his neck, and he only got that removed in January. Now, he'd said that he wanted to run a 2 hours 50 at Boston Marathon.
Which is pretty impressive for most people. Anyway.
It is. I don't know when he actually was able to start running properly, but you think you've had that long off of no impact at all on your joints and your bones to be able to take, you know, that mileage, to be able to get up to even dream of doing that.
Well, we were just talking about this, and yeah, he had the halo taken off in January, but it's not like he would have been able to jump back into full running mileage and volume straight away. So it does go to show, I mean, the fact that he was aiming for a 250, just, you know, his running pedigree and the talent the guy holds.
And I mean, considering the conditions, you know, we've seen people saying they were 10 minutes slower than last year. He ran, I think it was 17 seconds under 2 hours 50, so 2 hours 49. I mean, that's pretty spot on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in his own words, he says, I am 40 years old. I don't have the luxury of having a dark year. So he's just on it, trying to get fully recovered as quickly as possible. So he's back on the start line.
If he's on that start line in Kona, the amount of people that will be supporting him, it's a pretty cool story to follow.
Well, talking of supporting him, one of his sponsors, Xterra, got behind him by doing some custom kit, and they've raised a staggering $20,000 to help Tim towards his medical bills. Okay, on the subject of cold weather racing, this leads us nicely onto our poll. So for a wet and cold triathlon, what would you wear?
Well, the options are a gilet or body warmer, a waterproof with long sleeves, arm warmers, or just a tri-suit if you're as hard as nails. Or maybe it's something else or a combination of, so you can tick other, and do let us know what it is if it's something different. And remember, you can vote in the poll above Mark's head.
Yep, and last week's poll results where we asked you, have you ever done an off-road triathlon ahead of me and Heather doing our first ever Xterra? We have the results here. In last place, in fourth, yes, never again.
I'm glad that's last.
Yeah, that was 2%. In third, yes, and I loved it, 13%. Second was no, not that mad, 15%. And then in first place, it was no, but I'd like to, and that was 70%.
That was me before the weekend, but now I'm definitely yes and loved it. Well, it isn't just Tim Don who's a triathlete doing marathons. We've seen quite a few athletes double up at the Commonwealth Games. So last week we obviously covered the race results from the mixed relay and the individual, but there were still quite a few triathletes who had races left in their schedule, including England's Jade Jones. She won the paratriathlon wheelchair triathlon, and then, I mean, that was her main focus, but she then had the marathon, the wheelchair marathon as well, and Kate went on and got a bronze in that, and she said it was just a bonus race, so not bad for a bonus race.
Well, she wasn't the only one doubling up for the marathon. We had Bermuda's Tyler Butterfield, who also competed in the individual and the mixed team relay. But he went on to compete in the marathon where they had some pretty tough conditions. We actually saw the race leader, it's a Scotsman, Callum Hawkins, 2 kilometres from the finish line, start to wobble, tumble over, and couldn't finish the race.
I think he had a 2-minute lead at that point, which you think, you know, you have got it. 2K to run with a 2-minute lead. You know, that gold, you're seeing that gold medal, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like everyone struggled that day. Well, Tyler did fantastically well, and I guess it plays to his strength now that he focuses more on long distance racing. He came 12th overall in a time of 2:26, which I believe is a new Bermudan record.
I think it is, and I think it's only something like his 3rd or 4th marathon he's ever run. So, you know, a standalone marathon. So, pretty good result for him. There was another athlete who didn't work out quite so well for, Beth Potter, Scotland athlete who raced in the triathlon and has come from track. She raced 10K on track at Rio 2016 and started to progress into triathlon. Now, I think for her schedule, it was obviously the individual 1-day rest, then the mixed relay, then 1-day rest, then the 10K. And I think it just all turned out to be a little bit too much. And she, in her own words, just said, you know, the legs weren't there when it came to race day. So, bit gutting for her. And then there was one other athlete that we were excited to watch race again. This time outside of running, it was Flora Duffy, who had qualified for the mountain biking race, but she, in her own words, rode the course and just realised that it was pretty technical, and I think she wanted to save herself when she's got the World Triathlon Series in Bermuda in 2 weeks' time.
Well, the next set of results come from Xterra Malta, which Heather and myself were at and racing ourselves. The women's race, it was Nicole Walters that led the swim out with a 45-second lead over the chasers. Then another minute back. Again, it was Brigitte Poor and Karina Vassler. Brigitte powered through on the bike to have a 2-minute lead by the end of the 2nd lap. And unfortunately, Nicole Walters suffered a puncture on lap 2, which I actually witnessed firsthand as I was cycling up behind Nicole. So that was really unfortunate.
You didn't stop to help her then?
I did offer her a tube, but she apparently was all sorted and good to go. But it did take her apparently about 15 minutes to repair. So that was pretty much race over for her, sadly. Brigitte came off the bike with a huge lead and carried on to take the win. In 2nd, it was Karina Vassler, and in 3rd, it was Helena Karaskova.
Well, I mean, I could now give you a full race report of the men's race, or I could get the 3 times winner and winner of this year's race, Roger Serrana, to give it for you.
It was a crazy race. It's been a crazy race. I had everything under control since the first stroke. I knew I had the power. I was feeling really good. On the bike, Maxime started too fast. I knew he's fast, but not so much at these races. He's hard with the rocks, but unfortunately I had a crash on a very fast section, and then obviously I had these problems, so it really hurts every time you pedal or you try to move your back. So Francois caught me on the second lap. I stayed with them. I saw that I was still stronger than them because I was just riding with them. We started on the run. We had like a 2-minute gap on Maxime, and I said, okay, if Maxime is taking it easy, we're not gonna take it. So, and I took him about 50 seconds in less than 500 meters on the very steep uphill. 200 meters from the finish line, I just turned around and I thought that probably Max Xterra was coming behind me, but it was Victor Corral. So I had to sprint a little bit, not too much, but to get the first, and I'm really happy that I made it to the first position.
The next set of results come from Challenge Roma. Now, we're going to assume the course was slightly short going by the finishing times. They're pretty fast. Well, in the men's race, it was Johan Ackermann that led off the bike with 2 minutes and 17 seconds over the chasers. Now, an athlete we had sort of assumed to be up the front of the bike was Andy Dreitz, but unfortunately he suffered a crash early on and lost around 6 minutes on the side of the road trying to fix his saddle, so that sort of put him out of contention. But the person that wowed us all was Adam Bowden on the run. Now he had a 1:05.57 half marathon run split, which is just phenomenal. I'm not sure I've ever seen a run split that fast, so it might be a little bit quick considering the top 4 are all under 1:10. Still, there's fast running. He went through to take the win in his first ever middle distance race. Now, we normally know him for his ITU racing 4th at WTS Leeds last year. Second place, it was Pablo Gonzalez, and then in third, it was Inaki Baldello.
Well, on the women's side, it looked like it was going to be a strong race for Camilla Pedersen. She actually had the lead coming into T2, but Sarah Lewis, of the second place that she finished in Dubai, was in strong form. And actually, Camilla Pedersen had stomach problems on the run, and she just said, you know, on her social media that absolutely gutted, but she just couldn't continue, so she actually had to pull out of the race. Sarah Lewis went on to take the win for Great Britain, and she was joined on the podium by another British athlete, Alice Hector, for second, and then it was Marta Bernardi of Italy who finished third. Well, the next set of results come from South Africa. It was at the Ironman, the African Championships, and last week we talked about the fact that we were going to see Lucy Charles racing. She'd only announced it a few weeks before, and she did not disappoint. She got the swim course record, 47:32, which is just rapid, and then didn't let off on the bike. She came in under 5 hours on the bike, and basically the rest of the girls had to battle it for second and third because it looked like, you know, Lucy was pretty unstoppable, and she ran a 3:05 marathon and won by 7 minutes. But then the race for the lesser places was on between Susie Cheetham of Great Britain, Lindsay Corbin and Rachel McBride, and McBride had a strong swim and bike, but then actually dropped off a little bit on the run, and Susie came home to take the second for making it a 1-2 for Great Britain, and then Lindsay Corbin of USA was third.
Well, over in the men's race, it was Josh Amberger that, no surprises, led the swim out in a time of 46:24. He was sort of out on his own, other than Lucy Charles. It seemed like they were having a little bit of competition on the swim, which is a little unusual to see. And then, yeah, he led out with almost 2 minutes over the chasers. And it was Cameron Worth, who is the Ironman World Championship bike course record holder, that joined him towards the latter stages of the bike. And then they had bit of a gap over the chasers with the likes of Ben Hoffman, Carl Buckingham, Nico Lanos and Maurice Clavel. When they came on to the run, all eyes were on Ben Hoffman with his strong running, but unfortunately he's been suffering with a back injury, which we believe has sort of come from Cape Epic. So he walked around the run, and it came down to 28-kilometre mark where actually Cameron Worth had the lead, but it was Carl Buckingham that passed him to take the win overall. Josh Amberger came through to take second, and then in third it was Maurice Clavel.
And finally, it was Ironman 70.3 Lizuhou in China. Now, Imogen Simmons led out the swim, but it wasn't that long into the bike before Agnieszka Jerzyk caught her up, and the two of them pretty much battled it out together for all of the bike. And all of the run, and it came down to a sprint finish. Agnieszka Jerzyk won by just 3 seconds ahead of Imogen Simmons, and then Sarah Piampiano with the fastest run of the day moved up to finish in 3rd.
Well, over in the men's race, it was Alistair Brownlee that led from start to finish. He had a 70-second gap in the 1.9 kilometre swim over any of his chasers, but it was the bike where he really, well, he was quite impressive. He had a 6-minute faster bike split than any of the other competitors, with a time of 2:01 on the bike. And then it allowed him to just cruise the run in a time of 1:16 to take the win. He had a 4-minute gap over 2nd place, which was the multiple Ironman world champion Craig Alexander. Then just a minute back, his fellow countryman Sam Betton. And it's worth noting in 4th place, it was our GTN friend Mark Buckingham. Well, we've seen on Instagram Lionel outside on his cross bike trying to practice his handling.
So Mark, hot or not?
It's taken him a while to figure this one out, but it's hot.
It is, yeah. Right, next up, this one is a little sad to hear. Challenge Wanaka are dropping their full distance race, which is a real shame. So the race that happened earlier this year was the last one.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic races out there. I've known it as long as I've ever done triathlon,
really?
So that is really sad.
Well, I think that's a not.
Okay, our next one is Andy Potts to coach Escape Series athletes.
I wonder if you get any muffins with that.
Oof. I'd sign up for that one.
Go on then.
This is a hot, of course.
Well, next up, we have Nike's 3D printed fabric. Now, they've designed this shoe after Kipchoge, who was one of the athletes trying to break that 2-hour marathon in the summer, was complaining about the fabric being a little bit too heavy when it gets wet. And Nike have now been doing a lot of research into this product.
Well, actually, I know a little fact here that Nike use 3D printing the most out of anyone in the industry, not just trainers, just industry worldwide, full stop, which is pretty phenomenal, a running shoe brand using 3D printing. Well, they've now actually made the upper using 3D printing, and this is called the Nike Zoom Vaporfly Elite Flyprint.
Well, Mark, is it hot or is it not?
It's cool, it's a hot.
Well, it's another new bike, this time from Specialized. It's their S-Works Tarmac SL6, ridden by Richard Murray. And I have to admit, the paint job is pretty striking.
Yeah, it's in a kind of a blue camo. Camo is maybe the wrong term because it's not going to camouflage.
You're going to see that one, it stands out.
But it's a very cool paintwork. Specialized do some good paint jobs on their bikes. I think we know what you're going to say, Heather.
It's definitely hot.
The next one is an age group doping violation, and it is Nicholas Goff, a US triathlete who is also a personal trainer who does bike fitting and all sorts. He's unfortunately been caught for EPO. I don't think we really need to say much more here.
I don't think we do. It's a big fat not.
Now for the caption competition, and last week we had a cracking photo from the Otelo race in Havar, and it was a chap standing in his Y fronts looking quite proud.
He was.
I referred to him as Tim Reed.
That was brave.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that, Tim. I really didn't mean it. Someone has picked up on that. Martin Kelly has said it as if he is Tim Reed. He said, Mark, these are the latest Speedos and it's extra buoyancy, not extra weight.
I love it. Well, I like that one, but this week our favourite and our winner is Craig Orell, and he has a local competitor was caught unaware that the race had started.
Brilliant. Well, Craig, you are the winner. Get in touch over Facebook to claim your GTN swim cap.
Nice. Well, this week we have this picture here from Ironman 70.3 Texas.
Yeah, I don't think this is in the race, fortunately. I think this is just them warming up.
He was late to the start, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very panicked and quick entry, but I'm not really sure what to say here. I think we'll leave it to you guys, so get in touch in the comments below with your captions. Now for GTN Tribe, and this week it's sent in from France. It is TVT, Team Valeur Triathlon. It was sent in by Julien Bourdet.
Well, I think it was Julian and 2 of his friends. There's 3 of them set this club up. They love triathlon and they wanted to expand it. And then a year later, they had 15 members, and now they're up to 100. And they've been fairly successful with that. In the 4 years, they say we've won about 30 Normandy Championship titles and about 20 podiums and national titles and 15 podiums or international titles.
Brilliant. And apparently they even have kind of a mascot of the club. It's Jackie Buron, a model for all, they say. He's 63 years old. He's a former elite cyclist. He is the champion of France and Europe, and he's duathlon world champion. He dominates the veteran category. But they also say that he's very modest. See, they often get emails from him after a weekend saying that he's the European champion in such and such event, which is brilliant.
Oh, he sounds like a pretty cool guy to have as your mascot. Well, it sounds like the women's side of the club is pretty successful as well. They say they've got the women's team engaged in the first league of duathlon and the third league of triathlon. I mean, you know how the French league system works a bit better than I do with the triathlon.
Yeah, so they have the French Grand Prix series, which is... It's massive, actually. It's a really competitive competition that runs all over France, dots around through the year. And yeah, they've got the first division, second division, third division. So it's great that even a club is in one of the divisions. So they're obviously doing fantastically and they're trying to work their way up. They said the men's team is in the, well, they're close to the second league for the duathlon and triathlon. So they're clearly very competitive.
And it sounds like last year they were the best club in France for long distance duathlon. So all in all, pretty successful.
Fantastic. Well, do please keep sending in your GTN tribes, what your club is up to, or your photos, any events. We love it. Yeah, send them in over Facebook or over Twitter.
It's time for the GTN Pain Cave, and starting us off this week we have Marco Hanna, who sent it in over Twitter saying space is at a premium in our one bedroom, but the grind never stops. The P2 on the turbo with my air road hanging. Hashtag GTN Pain Cave.
Nice, yeah. So as he says, he's got his Cervelo P2.
Love that. That was what I was riding last year.
Yes, looks very familiar. And then it's a Canyon Air Road hanging up, also a very nice bike. And he has a big Zwift setup.
I mean, that is pretty close. Like when you're down here, you're going to be pretty close to that big screen. It's
literally like you're out cycling.
Yeah.
Fan right there below him, so it's pretty much in his face. Amazing.
It's definitely compact.
And a basket for his dog, maybe. Fantastic. All right. Moving on. This one comes from Zach Dunning, sent in over Facebook, and he has his Blue bike, which I believe is Australian or New Zealand brand. I used to ride one of these years and years ago, with his fan set up in front, and it's a cross trainer beside him.
You don't see many cross trainers in our pain caves.
Don't know. Gym setup, and then he's got TV in front of him.
It's an efficient use of space, I think.
Yeah, looks fantastic. And then finally from Troy Gelch, and he's done this like a pan, hasn't he? So it's quite a cool shot.
And I'm liking all the colours. It's just very colourful. Like his tri-kit that's hanging up, all of the medals, even the handlebar tape on his bike is colourful.
And we're on the screen.
Twice.
Yeah, fantastic.
Love it.
And he seems to be a big fan of trucker caps. That looks like a collection from Kona or something there. That's great. Nice. A lot of medals there. Fantastic. Well, do please keep sending in your pain caves using the hashtag GTN Pain Cave, or send them in over Facebook. But that's all from the GTN show this week.
It is. Well, if you are feeling in a summery mood now, it's starting to get a little bit warmer here in the UK, and you fancy adding some nice bright colours to your wardrobe, then just check out the shop to see our new t-shirts.
And to make sure you don't miss any videos from GTN, you can subscribe and you get notifications every day when a video goes out. You do that by clicking here. And to see our What is Xterra video, just click down here.
And we did a video on how to prepare for your race, and that's just here.